I'm about to make the most complete AI employment video on YouTube. Lots of YouTubers have weighed in with their ideas about what jobs can survive the AI revolution. I've watched probably all of them. I even watched 50% of a Ben Shapiro video to make this. Yeah, here's the thing. There are a lot of really important points that have not been brought up yet. But I just recently saw 2 videos on the channel A Life After Layoff, which is run by Brian, who is a corporate recruiter. And he was talking about how a bunch of tech companies were actually laying people off in favor of AI. And so that caught my attention. If anyone knows their worth in the job market, it's tech people. So tech people losing their jobs to AI can only mean one thing. It's real now. Or is it? Look, I work in the AI field, but even I think that a lot of this is a bit overdone. Let's talk about it for a minute. Why don't you pause this video, go get yourself a drink, and come back. I have a pretty complete list of jobs that I want to discuss with you. And if I manage to miss your job somehow, go ahead and put it in the comments and I will give you my take on it. So let's get into it. So we've all already encountered AI phone customer service. And in my opinion, it's already well on its way to being indistinguishable from human voices. And I know personally I've yelled "representative" into the phone a lot less often lately. But on the other hand, you can't really replace customer service in a brick and mortar store. We're already at a place where AI can do web development. My baby boomer mom has built a few websites recently using just drag and drop and ChatGPT, and they're pretty good. Like it or not, this is already being replaced. We know the technology exists. In this case, I think it just comes down to branding. I think stores like Costco are always going to lean toward employing humans, and stores like Walmart are always going to lean toward automation. Remember when Amazon was going to do drone delivery? I think delivery drivers are safe. Yeah, they're already being automated. Don't hate me in the comments. I've used an AI administrative assistant for years. Sorry, this is going to be automated. In 10 years, I just really don't think this job's going to exist anymore. This is also going to be automated. Let's talk about truck drivers. Everyone always talks about driverless trucks. But here's the thing, there's just way too much that an algorithm cannot do. I live here in the Rocky Mountains. In the winter, trucks have to put on chains. And you can potentially program an algorithm to do that. But then it would take a whole bunch of more engineering stuff to build a whole bunch of things on the bottom of the truck and even on the trailer to then put the chains on. I just don't see that happening in the next decade or probably even in the next 30 years. And let's talk about the oversized load trucks. I can't see an oversized load truck driver ever being replaced by an algorithm. Here's the thing. They have to get out every so often and readjust the load on the truck. They have to rebalance it, make sure that it's not weighting weird, causing weird wear on the tires, or even worse, falling over. And that's just something that you're never going to be able to program a machine to do, in my opinion. There's been test cases of people using driverless trucks like from the loading dock to the end of the loading dock, or just in small areas. I think in Japan they're building special highways for driverless trucks. I don't think we're going to go much further than that. If you're a truck driver, I think you're fine. You're going to keep your job at least for the next 30 years probably. We could get a big jump in automation in the agricultural space. But the thing is, cost becomes an issue here. Maybe I should make a video about how companies would decide if the cost of automation is worth it or not. Would that be boring? Comment below if you would watch that. Okay, so here's the lowdown. I think it's possible to do further automation in the agricultural space. I just don't know if it's going to be cost effective. There's been job replacement in this field already going on since like the 80s, maybe even before that. And it's probably going to continue to keep going, but I think there's a number of jobs in factory work that you can't really replace. One of the main ones that comes to mind is quality assurance. Okay. Let's talk about Duolingo. I know they recently laid off a bunch of people. They said they can just have AI do the translations now. Look, I've studied abroad in Egypt, actually. I don't know about the experiences of other people who are bilingual. If you have a story, please comment. But in my experience, AI cannot translate from English to Arabic very well. They're all just notoriously bad. If I were to take what's available in Duolingo or Babbel or Rosetta Stone or whatever else and use that in Egypt, they would laugh at me. Luckily, I went to a college that had Egyptian Arabic as a class, and I could learn before I went to go study in Egypt, which was really useful. I think that we're going to see a resurgence of people going back to learning languages from humans. Can you imagine a robot firefighter? Firefighters are safe. You're not getting your job replaced by AI for at least 100 years, probably. However, I can see potentially some ways that we could use AI to maybe make a firefighter's job safer. Okay, this is the first thing that I'm putting into the category of we should never allow this to be done by an AI. I understand that we have had trouble with racism in America ever since the country was founded, and I understand that police brutality is a huge issue. If we get an AI to do it instead, it's going to get worse because algorithms use past data. So at least you can teach a police officer, a human, to think about the future, but you cannot teach an algorithm to do that. Algorithms rely on statistics. And statistics by nature look at the past. If your town is looking at trying to make robot police officers, do not let them. Look, I'm a very logical thinker, and in my mind, I know that machines can sometimes, in stressful situations, make less mistakes than humans. That said, I don't know that I would ever get on a plane that didn't have a human pilot. Comment below if you would ride a pilotless plane. I'm curious. I don't think I would. I have to tread carefully on this because I don't want a whole bunch of Tesla people in my comments. It would be very expensive to build a robot that can function in an auto shop. Most robots are only metastable, while most two-legged robots. That means that the floor has to be immaculately smooth in order to have the robot not trip and fall, basically. The technology for bipedal robots to function on rough terrain, I would say, is at least 10 or 20 years away. So in order to have robots working in your auto mechanic shop, that place has to be immaculately clean. And if you work in an auto shop, you know that's probably not how it is. They're not dirty, but there's usually like a tool at least, or like a bolt, something on the floor. And it would be just super annoying to go from being a mechanic to being a janitor. If that robot drops something, someone's gonna have to pick it up. Instead of having two-legged robots, maybe they could have them be four-legged or six-legged. So huge companies like, the dealership could potentially afford to replace all of their auto mechanics with robots. If you're an auto mechanic and you work for a small company, you're probably safe. Yeah, there's probably the potential for more loss to robots in that job. If you're like me and you're dumb enough to answer a phone call from a telemarketer, you might notice that you're talking to an AI first, and then you get connected to somebody with a license after that. In my opinion, this is as far as this is gonna go. Having an AI close a sale is too risky. The company could be liable for false advertising, or breaking laws about guarantees, or rebating, or HIPAA, or a whole bunch of other things that could cause the company to lose their license. Any sales job requiring a license, in my opinion, is safe. Okay, this is a cool one, at least in my opinion. A Canadian company has been building robots to mine uranium instead of endangering human lives. This should go in a category of jobs we should not let humans do if we can have an AI do it. This job is already out the door. We have Midjourney and Stable Diffusion now. If you're a graphic designer, you need to start expanding your skill set immediately. No comments? Look, I think a lot of video editing could be automated, okay? But, whoa. There's a human factor that I don't think an algorithm can do yet. Maybe not ever. My channel isn't big enough for me to be an expert on this, and if you have a bigger channel and you are watching this, please let me know in the comments. But there's a whole bunch of creativity that goes into editing a video that I don't think an AI is going to be able to do, but it could potentially make your job easier with automating transitions and other things that could be time consuming. But I don't think your job's at risk. And AI can do the bookkeeper job. So if you're a bookkeeper, you're gonna have to figure out another way to be competitive with AI. Start expanding out, maybe go into the accounting field next. Speaking of accountants, if you do your taxes wrong, you go to jail. Even though I know I could probably program an AI with the tax code, I don't know that I would be comfortable having an AI do my taxes. Here's the thing, an AI can do this thing called a hallucination. It's not when you give your computer way too much LSD, it's actually what happens when they give you wrong information. Hire a human accountant. Now, tax accountants aren't the only kind of accountant. We also have forensic accountants, managerial accountants, we have auditors. Let's talk about managerial accountants. There's a creativity element actually involved with figuring out how to legally commit accounting fraud that I just don't think that we could get a computer to do. Forensic accounting though. Look, if you're a forensic accountant, you need to branch out. The fact of the matter is we've already trained AIs how to do your job. I certainly wouldn't want a robot to represent me in court. What about lawyers that don't typically go to court, like a estate attorney? If you're an estate attorney, maybe start coming up with a second specialty, because I think we could build an algorithm to replace you. Please don't sue me. Totally safe. Robots and water don't mix. Robots and poop water don't mix. Robots can do mundane tasks, but so far we haven't been able to replicate the combination of real-world skills and practical knowledge that human electricians have. I can't see an AI replacing an electrician in this decade. We can train an algorithm to do a lot of data collection and analysis. So if you're a data analyst, maybe upgrade your skills to be a data scientist. Speaking of data scientists, how do I say this without getting myself lynched? Look, someone has to train all the algorithms that are taking everyone else's jobs. There's just a little bit of emotional intelligence that's going to be required for the job that a software program's never going to be able to do. That's something that we should never even attempt to have a robot do. Can you imagine? Let's have story time with the Terminator. No, we're not doing that, okay? Oh, that's not spelled right. I thought I proofread this. Anyway, I'm not good at cooking, but I respect the creativity involved with it. And I don't think that it's ever going to be able to be taken over by AI. Whenever I see someone cook, they're always tasting it and be like, okay, no, a little more salt. Okay, you know, you're not going to be able to get an AI to do that. I think all the kitchen workers kind of contribute to that. If you're in a small, like a real restaurant, I don't think you're replaceable, to be honest. Look, we've tried having AI do this job. It was a disaster. The AI that we had trying to do this job was racist AF. I think it's possible to make it safer for garbage workers by having AI help, but I'm not sure we can completely automate the waste management job. Now that would be a disaster to have an AI do. Let's all line up and talk to a robot about our feelings. Now I know someone's gonna try to make an app. Don't use the app. I haven't seen it yet, but I already know which. Hire a human therapist.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, 15 yards.
Look, I realize that it would be hilarious to listen to John Madden make comments about the robot Super Bowl. I just don't think it would bring in the same amount of ad revenue as watching grown men beat the shit out of each other over a ball, you know? AI has gotten extremely good at detecting stuff, and in some cases, it's showing to be even better than radiologists at detecting things. I think that it is possible to build a robot to do construction things. I just don't think that small businesses are going to be able to afford a $3 million robot to hang windows. And there are construction jobs that, in my opinion, an AI is never going to be able to do. For example, concrete work or brick work that requires using a wet saw. I think that the tradespeople could find that their job is enhanced potentially by AI or robots, but I don't think it's going to necessarily take over. My fellow Americans don't know what the hell this is, but our funny talking maple syrup smoking neighbors to the north have this job. The logging companies hire people to plan out what trees can be cut down that don't interfere with the view from hiking trails or scenic overlooks. We could easily automate it by strapping a camera onto a drone. What the f*** is a travel agent? Just use Google Flights. Most of what a bank teller does can easily be done by either a online banking algorithm or the ATM machine. To be honest, I'm surprised we even still have bank tellers. I might actually enjoy robot church. Religious leaders would be hard to replace by an AI. So if you want a job that can't be lost by an AI as well as a legal tax shelter, maybe you should start a religion. Hey ChatGPT, tell me an original joke that's never been told before. You think that's funny? If you think that's funny, comment below. Look, I don't think AI is going to replace stand-up comedy. Look, there's way too much emotional intelligence involved with both of these. Algorithms can definitely be used to help marketers and advertisers, and I've built some for this purpose, and they're very useful, but I don't think that I can ever make one who could replace the personnel from the marketing or advertising departments. I can see an AI algorithm being used to help with diagnostics, just like you could do for people, but you're never going to see an AI replace a human veterinarian. Maybe this is a controversial opinion, but I think this is too dangerous to let an AI do. I just think it's too easy for people to hurt themselves or potentially get an eating disorder from that, and you really should be doing your fitness with a person. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news here. I know this is another really high-paying job, but I think it's going away too. You could easily just have the AI know when your appointment is and let you in. You don't need the realtor to be present. For the most part, a digital walkthrough is just going to be fine, and a lot of the activities that you need representation for can just be programmed into an algorithm. We can automate the breaking news part, but investigative journalism and anything requiring research it's going to need the human touch. Do you remember the robo-advisor phase that humanity went through? Is that still a thing? Look, hire a human financial advisor. And never take financial advice from anyone on YouTube unless it's me telling you to hire a human financial advisor. There is way too much research involved with being an economist. I don't think we can program an AI to do an economist job. Look, robots cannot do research. I know it seems like they can because ChatGPT goes and it searches the internet and it comes up and it spits out this thing, but it's using information that's already out there. It's not producing anything new. So any research that requires producing something new that's never been seen before, we need humans for that. However, scientists are aided significantly by algorithms. I have made algorithms for scientists, but I have not made algorithms that can replace scientists. That's the part that I think we'll never be able to do. We can make a robot that can flip a bird. So a big company like McDonald's can probably afford this. A small company probably can't. So if you're working fast food at a small company, probably fine, at least safer than McDonald's. An algorithm could do this job, but this ends up with the same situation as we had with the police, okay? I don't want to live in a dystopia police state. Let's not do that, okay? Do not let an AI be cybersecurity. That is a bad idea. We should not let AI regulate AI. Dentists are already scary enough. Let's not make them robots. We should never let an AI be a physician or a nurse. There's way too much emotional intelligence required for this job. Absolutely never ever let AI algorithms replace pharmacists. Why do so many people on YouTube and otherwise think that an AI can replace a pharmacist? This is a terrible idea. Can you imagine if we let the profit-driven big pharma determine which drugs are stocked? Do you think they would give you a generic? A while back I made this video about the lawsuits that United Healthcare and Humana are facing for allegedly using an algorithm to avoid giving patients the bare minimum of care in order to maximize profits. You should watch it.